I'm... I'm sorry, Akane.
It's alright, Daniel. I know how overdoing it on studying can really take a huge toll on you and all. Maybe you should go to the nurse's office.
Is the nurse even still here?
I'm not sure, but you never know. Let me help you there. What? Impossible. How can you be... Hey, kiddo. Let Mom and Dad talk a bit here, would you? What are you... The hell?
What?
Sorry, that was the first thing I could think of to make her quit it.
Okay. That much I understand, but... Did you have to make it sound like we're Amy's parents? This doesn't feel real. I'm actually alone with her now. As I turn to face her, I stumble a little bit. Before I can fall, Akane rushes to my side and puts one of my arms around her shoulder, propping me back up to my feet.
You really need to take better care of yourself, you know. Oh. God, I sounded like Momoko, didn't I?
No, at least you don't say that at the end of every other sentence like she does.
Yeah, I guess you're right. You're such an annoying little twerp, you know.
Stop getting in my way, you know.
That's totally something she'd say.
It's been a while since I've heard Akane laugh like this. Considering I scared her back there, at least I can make it up to her. Hey, I made you laugh. That's my first victory of the day.
For real though, Daniel. Monica and Sayori have told me a little bit about your study habits.
What the... Damn it, Sayori.
I mean, I like watching anime and gaming too, so I can't really blame you. I can't tell you how many hours I've sunk into Henshin Impact whenever I've sat down to play.
And yeah, this is where we start seeing the real director's cut material come into play.
I tend to get super into that game world.
Oh right, you play Henshin too. Yeah, can't agree with you more on that. I don't watch her as much as I used to, but I know Ardent Angel plays Henshin a lot. For some reason, Akane got kind of twitchy when I mentioned that name. Have you heard of her?
Yeah, I've heard of her. I've never had the chance to watch her, though.
Ah, alright. Then again, I've noticed she doesn't stream as much as she used to these days. Maybe she's going through a lot of stress and exhaustion too.
You have no idea.
Hmm?
Back on the topic of stressing yourself. I've had a lot going on in my life, and, well, I haven't really been able to do much of that stuff lately. As much as I'd like to, I'm not able to relax and take my mind off things with a good gaming session.
Oh, so you've been busy with school a lot, I'm guessing.
It's not just school that I have to worry about. I'm not sure if Monica's told you, but I have a part-time job at a store not too far from here.
Yeah, she told me something about that. She said that was why you couldn't join any of the clubs at school.
Yeah. I would have really loved to join the literature club with you all, but I really need this job. Especially considering how my mother is most of the time. I have to do something.
Your mother?
I haven't told anyone this considering how embarrassing it is, but my mother is very irresponsible. She always comes home drunk. She either comes home laughing with some random guy she met at a bar, or she comes back crying ugly style. Sometimes she comes home angry and takes it out on me.
Wait, you don't mean...
No, nothing like physically hurting me or anything. She's never laid a hand on me, I swear. Sorry, I should have worded that better. She just yells at me and tells me hurtful things. Like one time...
She pauses for a moment.
One time she told me if my dad hadn't knocked her up and I hadn't been born, she would have been a lot happier.
That's... that's fucked up. Akane nods sadly, not even hiding the defeated look on her face. I feel a weight on my heart. I can't imagine anyone saying something like that, especially to a wonderful person like Akane. I can't believe anyone could be so mean to her, especially not her own mother. And what about your father, then? What's he like?
My father's totally different. He loves and worries a lot about me. Unlike my mom, he's happy to have me as his daughter. This is probably going to sound mega cringe, but when I was younger, he'd always say I was his little angel. Sometimes he still calls me that.
No, that's not cringe at all. It just shows that you really mean a lot to him.
I know some people find nicknames like that to be super dumb and cringe, but, well, I'm not one of those people. I'm happy to have him in my life. I couldn't have asked for a better dad than him.
It's good you have at least one parent in your life that's not terrible. I'm sorry if it sounds like I'm prying, but why aren't you living with him right now? I'm sure you'd be much happier with him.
Yeah, about that. I mean, you're right. I'd rather be living with him right now, but after my parents had this nasty divorce during junior high, well, he took up this job traveling for some kind of construction firm. Since he specialized in metallurgy, and there weren't too many jobs here, he thought it'd be the best option. He said that as much as we both hated it, I had to stay here with her. Mostly because he was worried about leaving me by myself for long periods of time, especially since I was only 14 at the time. He was also concerned that he wouldn't be able to take care of me properly. He was afraid he'd be neglecting me, but I knew he'd never do that. That's why I reminded him he was the best dad I could ever have. After all, it's just like you said, Daniel. He loves me, and I mean a lot to him. It's too bad we don't have much extended family that he trusted leaving me with. Honestly, though, it couldn't have been much worse than living with that lady who's supposed to be my mom.
Akane's tone becomes sour, acid dripping from those last words. I could feel the torment in her voice. After all this time, Akane, I didn't know.
Well, now you do.
And this is where the scene would have ended in the original game. But this is the director's cut. That's something we have in common.
What?
Not 100%, of course, but sort of. Around my last year of junior high, my parents split up as well. They tried to make things work, but in the end, they couldn't stand each other. Apparently my dad was so unhappy, that's why he cheated on my mom so many damn times. It also seemed like I was kind of an embarrassment to him. He'd make fun of me for being too soft or weak, as he'd put it. Like, I never grew up to be a real man, just because I wasn't athletically gifted. Or because I was a huge crybaby when I was still a little kid.
But you were still just a little boy. How could he say those things?
Seems like it didn't matter to him. I was expected to be tough and manly by the time I was 8, apparently. When I got older, he got a little more personal at times. He questioned why Sayori, a girl, was my best friend, for one thing. One time he asked me when I was going to stop being so stupid and make her my girlfriend. You know, because as a guy, you're not allowed to be friends with a girl unless you're trying to date her. According to him, anyway. So he questioned if something was wrong with me. Not like he ever tried to get me to know me, though. He claimed that he was just joking around with me, but I never found it funny. Neither did my mom once I finally told her. She was disappointed that I kept all that a secret from her for so long, but furious at my dad for basically bullying me behind her back. She was already dealt a crippling blow from finding out about all his affairs, but that was the final straw for her. My mom is probably one of the most important people in my life. From day one, she made sure I never forgot how much I meant to her. She knows me better than anyone. She's always been in my corner, cheering me on and encouraging me. Between her and my late grandmother, I wouldn't be who I am without them. But anyhow...
Your mom sounds amazing. Nothing at all like my mom. As for your dad, well, honestly, screw him. You're better off without someone like him around. And thankfully you didn't turn out to be as messed up as he is, either.
Let me see, like... For the people within, well, I guess in this case my mother's side of the family and other people that I know in real life, kind of like my other friends and whatnot, they've even pretty much said, like, yeah, based on the way I've described him, yeah, thank God I didn't turn out as messed up as he is. Because, yeah, like I said, him basically saying that about my mother was the final, the last straw for me.
I'm with the person you are right now. I honestly wouldn't mind getting to meet your mom someday. I mean, not in a weird way, of course. I know bringing a girl to meet your mom is something you only do if you're dating, and I know we're not... I mean,
Who knows? Maybe someday I can introduce you to her. And not in a weird way, of course. Before I can say anything further, she interrupts me.
Looks like we're here now.
And yeah, this is where that scene would have ended, so... I extended it out a bit because... At least... I did want to have a bit more of a moment between him and her. Likewise, considering some of the things that I would like to include in Chapter 2 and 3, I'm almost here like... I'm not sure if we would have been able to touch on that as effectively, so... When considering the director's cut, I was just kind of here looking at, okay, what scenes do I think could be reworked or expanded on, and this was pretty much like my first choice here as to one of those candidates. While we do get to see like a little bit between the two of them, now it's like we get to see a little bit into their friendship. We get to see the little banter between the two of them. And in this case, they both learn that they're actually more alike than they would have initially figured.